the best for last.
This is the one. This here is real badass.
Second kick cap.
That's experience for you. Second kick. 35 years on these 500s. This is the one. This is the one right here that got me hooked on Hondas. CR500. Won 9 out of 11 motos on this thing. My last race was as an amateur before I turned expert. Rode some nationals with this against some of the best riders in the country. I actually passed Tony D on one of these in a race. Tony DiStefano, 3-time world champion on the same bike right here. Just love these bikes. This motor right here, out of all the 500s we had, this Ken O'Connor 2 and 500 took. Everybody unanimously said it was the best motor. Least amount of vibration and the most horsepower. This is not a 491. This rounded up to 500. This is a full 514, 91 millimeter forged piston. This is a real Mac Daddy right here. Whole shot king.
Save the best for last.
This is the one. This here is real badass. absolutely the best 86 500 I've ever ridden. Ken O'Connor Racing did a beautiful job on the motor. The 514 big board just gives it power everywhere. This is one of the few 500s that I've ridden that I have to be careful. Even after all the years of riding 500s, it surprises you. Stand straight up, second, third gear. You got to stay up on the clutch, weight over the front end, or it's going to stand straight up. Absolute whole shot monster. And it's stunning. The powder coating on the frame is done to a really high level. Absolutely stunning. The color matches the tank beautifully. The original tank's got a nice shine. Cosmetically, the bike's a 10. Mechanically, it's a 10. This has got to be, if this isn't the nicest 500 we've sold yet, it's definitely on the podium. And really, as a matter of it being the nicest one we sold, it's a matter of which year do you like better. Do you like the 86?
Right.
Do you like the 89 better? Do you like the 97? What year do you like the best? If you're into the 86s, look no further. Click to buy it now. You'll never build a better one for less than we're selling this bike for, unless you do it yourself and include 100 hours labor for free. If you got to pay a shop to build it, you're better off buying one done because it adds up quick. This has got all the goodies: aluminum radiators, Renthal bars, Hoosier tires, gold chain. Everything's done on it. It's all the hardware is all brand new on it. Everywhere you look, it's bristling with trickery. And what really matters most is the motor. The 514 CR500 is unmatched. No, there's no way any other two-stroke bike from this era will even come close. So, and I've proven it time and time again at the 500 shootout, 2 times in a row against the best 500s in the Northeast, and some came from California, Texas, Ohio, on some badass machines. And my 500 CR won. There's something about the third gear starts on these. If you can master that, well, I don't want to give up all my trade secrets. I'm hoping to win one more time. Although Junior might have my number now. He's been practicing. So Kaplan America, seal of approval on this one. You're not going to find a nicer one. Click to buy it now or build one yourself. But either way, make sure you pick the right components. Have the crank balanced by Crankworks. Send it to someone like Ken O'Connor to have it done right. And don't skimp on the components. Don't put a cheap crank in there. Go OEM Honda or AJ Wagner's billet crank, nothing else. Have it micro balanced. Put a nice Wiseco piston in there. The combination of the 86 cylinder with the long rod on it and the Cometic spacer, this is, like I said, is my second one. It works phenomenal. It just doesn't detonate anywhere. It's got power everywhere, more than most mere mortals can handle. Guaranteed hole shot. Guaranteed. Money back guaranteed. I was just thinking about something when I was riding this thing, especially after that massive third gear hole shot I just did. And I banged forth. It stood straight, almost stood straight up. I had to lean forward, slip the clutch a little bit more. It's always easier to start the race in first place, especially on a monster like this. Everybody behind you is going to be getting sandblasted and eating rocks. And if you don't get the hole shot on this, you got no one to blame but yourself, straight up. There's no excuses. This thing's putting down some serious horsepower, and the engine is vibration free. The clutch, the transmission has 3 brand new gears in it, and the other 2 gears are mint. We went over everything earlier in the video, or I don't know if Kenny did the talking part before the riding part, but in any event, at some point we're going to go over every component in the engine that's been either massaged to perfection by Ken O'Connor, or balanced by Crankworks, or replaced with a brand new OEM component. It don't get no better than this. So It's got the 89 side cover, water pump impeller, Gold Series fatty pipe. It's an absolute beast. Second to none. This thing's second to none, straight up. You won't get a better 500 than this. Nor do I think you can build a better one because everything was done right on this thing. Any more horsepower than this is just overkill. It's got to be putting down damn near close to 60 horsepower. Probably, if I had to guess, I'd say somewhere between 60 and 62, 63 horsepower with this setup. Maybe 65. It's that good. Because my 500 put down 55 horse. This has got to be, this 514's got to be 60. We haven't dynoed it. Could be 63, could be 65, I don't know. But it's a lot faster than my 55 horse 97, straight up and smoother. Guaranteed. So, good luck finding a nicer one, unless you consign and build one exactly like this with the same components.
Well, that's been proven on the dyno with the correct intake and exhaust components and a little bit of porting, even on the stock bore. 65 plus horsepower is possible with these machines.
I fully suspect this is putting down in the 60s. It is absolute rocket ship, and I've ridden a lot of 500s just in the last. Well, hell, we rode 7, 8 of them in one day here, and this was the one. This was the machine. This is the end all be all. Fastest of the 500s that we've had through the shop. So, when our next build, our next build that we're doing on the 92. We're going to copy some of the stuff that was done to this. We're doing the micro balancing of the rod, the big bore piston, the FMF pipe. So it'll be very similar to this. But this one's ready to roll. No excuses 500. It's easier to start when you give it a little bit of gas. You want to crack the throttle a little bit on this. Go to top dead center. I started it twice today. It started second kick cold and third or fourth kick. I forgot to give it a little gas. You got to give it a little, just crack the throttle a little bit. Kick it past TDC. Go all the way up and get a nice kick. Fires right up. Even with the big bore, you don't need the compressor release. You don't have to do that, but that makes it even easier. So don't get no better than this, folks. God bless America. What's happening, guys? Ken Kaplan here. Feast your eyes on the winner of the 2020 500 engine shootout. We normally have a shootout where we bring them to the track, but we had an actual ride day here at the track. Don't confuse that with the fall shootout we're going to have. But this was just with our staff. We took 7 CR500s of various years all the way up to my 2003 service Honda here to the compound with the staff and a KX500 and ran them back to back to back in drag races and third gear roll-ons. And this bike unanimously was chosen by the staff as the best motor. Why? Well, this thing was just flat out faster than all of them and vibrated less. It was just rebuilt, completely rebuilt from the crank up by Ken O'Connor Racing. It has the OEM Honda crank, which is the best one to use unless you're going to do a billet HRC style crank from AJ Wagoner. This is the best crank to have besides his. It's the original factory crank, and it was completely rebuilt and sent out to Crankworks where it was balanced. All right, sorry about that interruption there with the phone ringing, but I've got the actual list here on my phone of exactly what the specs are on the motor. It's a 514cc. That's one of the reasons. It's a big bore Wiseco piston, which the Wiseco chart, this is the 91mm piston with a long rod, ends up being 514cc. So that's part of it, but the fit and finish and the quality of construction is why this engine turned out better than the other 8 500s that we have here. So again, it's an OEM Honda 1986 crank that was rebuilt by Ken O'Connor Racing, and he sent it out to Crankworks to be balanced. He put the new crank seals and new crank lower, all the new lower end bearings are brand new, and he used a 87 Plus Pro X long rod. And if you look at the Cometic spacer plate in between the engine cases in the cylinder head, that's a Cometic product that makes the long rod work with the 86 motor. Because if you remember, the 86 is the short rod, 85 and 86 were the short rod motor. The long rod has some advantages, so that was used here. And it works. This is the second 86 I've had. We did a video at Unadilla for the other 86. That we auctioned that one off. That one sold for $10,500, and I don't believe that bike was as nice as this one, but it was pretty damn nice and it was fast as hell. So this package works. It has in addition to the Cometic spacer plate, it has new OEM head studs and nuts. All the bearings in the bottom end and all the seals in the bottom end are all brand new OEM Honda products. The water pump was rebuilt. Has a brand new EBC clutch and a brand new OEM pressure plate. 3 of the transmission gears, I have pictures of them here actually, are new. And one of the transmission gears had to be sourced from the UK. The other 2 transmission gears were mint shaped. Now, I want to start by saying or add that Ken O'Connor Racing spec'd replacing 3 of those gears, not because they were worn or broken or weren't working. He just thought that they were getting, you already had the motor apart and they had some wear on them, so why not replace them? But there's an expense to that. The one gear from the UK alone cost $200 plus the cost of the other 2 gears. If you look at the water pump closely, take a look at that. That's a brand new 1989 year plus aluminum clutch case, so there's no more corrosion issues. That, as you can see, they had to reroute the hoses to work with that. So all the upgrades that Ken O'Connor Racing recommended, this is a no expense build. It has a Boyson reed valve on there also, a twin air filter, and it has the OEM PJ carb with the new OEM vent hoses. So the entire motor is completely rebuilt. Wiseco piston, Pro X rod, balanced crank, new clutch, and that's why. Oh, also Ken O'Connor did a little porting on the engine, so that probably helped too. But this thing, the first time I rode this, now keep this in mind, I've been riding 86 Honda CR500 since 1986. It's not my first rodeo, right? I get on this bike, first gear across the lawn, bang, second gear, this things crack the throttle, things stand straight up. I almost did a Larry the Destroyer flip on it. It stood straight up, and it happened to a couple of our staff members too. Luckily, nobody flipped it because we're all either retired expert pro riders or up and coming fast amateurs. So the entire staff, everybody who works on our staff that was at the 500 shootout, we rode them around the field here, switched off. You can check that video out, and unanimously, this package, the Gold Series FMF fatty exhaust, along with the original silencer on here, it just flat out works. This thing hauls the mail. It's really fast, and there's very little vibration, as noted by all the guys that rode it. So he had put $4,800 into the bike, and he also added here, Jordan, that he put 100 hours labor over the course of 5 months doing a nut and bolt restoration on the bike. Ken O'Connor Racing is in Danielson, Connecticut. Look them up online. They're highly respected in the race community. So a 5-month process on a frame-off restoration using the best engine builder in Connecticut resulted in the 500 shootout winner. This thing's freaking awesome. There's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't win every race, vintage race you put this in, unless you screw up. So he also sent the frame out, had that beautifully powder coated in the original factory red color. Spent a great deal of time hand sanding. This is not a clear coated tank. This was hand sanded and buffed to a brilliant shine. This is the original tank. It's got new VMX radiator shrouds and side number plates. In the front number plate, we put a new graphic package on it with the #1 USA logos. These are brand new. I just put these on this morning. I absolutely love this look. The red, white, and blue 85 decal along with the HRC logo along on the shiny VMX plastics. The original gas cap's nice and shiny. The bars are, we just put these on ourselves this week too. A brand new set of Renthal bars, Uri grips. It has a Pro Taper, clutch perch, and lever, which is brand new. The brake lever is black to match the clutch lever. Front number plate's got the American flag and the HRC logo. It's got a new front fender. The fork boots are brand new. The forks have been rebuilt. When it went through our detail shop, of course, you know, if you want the yellow number plates, and I have a set of yellow 86 the factory number plates. We'll include those for an additional $100, front and sides in yellow if you like that look better. We always go with the white look. There's something just about, I talked about it on the 86 250. There's one bike you had to spend 6 months out of the year looking at and admiring in your showroom or in your living room. To me, this is it. The 86 or the 87 CR. I love the look of this bike with the gold rims. We put a brand new gold chain on it, and I always put the Hoosier tires on my Hondas. They hook up and they last, and they're just beautiful looking with the raised white letter. Something about these Hoosiers rolling down the driveway with the American flag, and it's just a stunning bike. Anywhere you go to any AMA National and start this 86 500 and ride it through the pits, every head will turn. Every pro rider will look like, well, I hear a 500. You know, it's like the call of the wild. And this bike doesn't disappoint. It sounds good. It looks good. And like my dad used to say, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. This duck barks. This thing's just straight up nasty.
So it barks, it doesn't actually quack?
No, it barks. This one's a barking duck.
So is it really a duck?
I don't know. All I can tell you is that of all the 500s we have, this is the best motor. Okay, guys, I had to make a decision. I have my AF, my 2003 service Honda 500, and that has an 85 engine in it, which was considered the most potent porting and most violent hits. I figured take the lightest frame and put the baddest ass motor in it, but that motor is not as good as this Ken O'Connor. One, because this is the big bore, and two, because it's carbureted and balanced and everything's just perfect on it. I came this close to pulling this motor out and putting it in my new AF, and I came to the conclusion that this original motor should stay in this original frame to maintain the integrity of it, and that my AJ Wagoner service Honda CR500 should be kept with that engine in there. So, but we came this close. I love this motor that much, I almost put it in my AF. But we're going to turn it over to the next guy. It's not going to be cheap, but I'll tell you straight up, it's going to be worth it. The typical street value of a restored CR like this is starting at around $10,000 right now. We've sold a few of them that have broke the $10,000 mark. We just sold the KX500, not nearly as nice as this one, for $8,000 the other day. That's going to Belgium. The 500 two-strokes are getting hard to find. Going down the service order here, we had steam cleaned the bike when we got it. The frame and subframe were touched up a little bit. The plastic was cleaned up a little bit. The hubs were touched up. The swing arm was polished. The Kickstarter was polished to like a chrome finish on the Kickstarter, as was the brake lever and the shift lever and the fork lower. So all the aluminum on the bike was polished nicely. So I also put the Kaplan America. I only put this decal on the bikes that I fall in love with. I put the Kaplan America decal on there, an American flag and the USA package. I really love the graphic. There's no better graphics package than this, in my opinion. So the bike is a stunner. It's in absolutely gorgeous condition, ready to roll up to the line and win a Vintage National today. All the fluids in the bike are new. The training fluid, the coolant, has brand new Ori grips, and I pretty much mentioned everything else. A brand new gold chain on the new sprockets with the Hoosier tires front and rear. A few other things I want to add. This seat cover is one of the nicest I've ever seen on an 86. It's beautifully done. It's a replacement seat cover, and it's got the firm foam under there. The foam's brand new and nice and firm. So the seat could be another reason why this won the shootout. The fit and finish of the controls and plastics and everything on this thing is an absolute 10. It has the original Honda pegs on here. Check out these pegs. The original 35-year-old pegs. The one on this side looks like it just came out of the box, and the one on this side is in good condition also. So the shift lever is polished. The exhaust system's beautiful. And it works. The FMF pipes have put down the most horsepower on the dynos on the 500s. A lot of the hardware is new. Look at the seat bolts are brand new. The washers, this is something the Wizard does. He puts these special washers on here. All new hardware, all new mounting hardware everywhere. That just adds that extra touch of sparkle. And there's something about the red with the gold on the gold and that badass big bore 514 motor. This thing, if this thing don't get your blood flowing, you might be dead. It's especially riding it. A lot of really cool pieces like the Answer AccuTrack bar mounts are super nice. I kind of like those. They reduce flex a little bit. Renthal bars are on point. All the cables are new or like new. Pro Taper perch is brand new. The front brake line is braided stainless, and brakes were rebuilt front and rear. Shock and forks are in mint condition. Take a look at the frame rail. This is another thing the previous owner had done that I really like. These bikes are notorious for being susceptible to frame damage. So rather than put a frame protector, he welded on glide plates on the bottom of the frames, which is brilliant in my opinion, doubling the capacity of the frame to take abuse. I mean, this is just not going to dent. The stock frames are a thin wall, and he welded those on, so now you've got the ultimate frame protectors on there, and the rest of the frame's in beautiful condition and powder coated. All the hoses are new. This bike's a 10, folks, and the performance reflected that in back-to-back tests by seasoned 500 vets like me and the Wizard, and up-and-comers like Junior and Shane, who are KX500 guys. Up to recently, Kenny's decided to ride the Honda. He liked the KX more. They all fell in love with this bike. Junior, you rode this. Give me your 10 cents on what your thoughts are about this beast.
The biggest thing, because all the chassis are exactly the same for the Steelies, the biggest thing to me was the microbalance crank. And who at Crankworks did this one?
Ken O'Connor Racing rebuilt the crank and sent out the crank halves and everything to be balanced at Crankworks is who did it.
Guys, if you want to ride these fast, especially on a track through chop and nasty braking bumps and rollers, the vibration alone will rip your hands right off the handlebars, and that makes the biggest difference, guys. And just rideability and like Senior was saying, the fit and finish, the brakes are on point even with the rear drum. This motor is smooth, power of the jetting is perfect, and this had the least vibration out of every CR500 that we had in the shop.
So. Amen. That's a fact. It's a beast. The again, the motor was also media blasted when he had it apart, so it was taken down to metal and then repainted. And of course, the '89 aluminum clutch case, so no corrosion issues. The Boyson reeds, the twin air filter. I also forgot to mention, in addition to the entire new water pump case, water pump, and everything in there, and hoses. Look at the radiators. Got a brand new set of radiators. So it's not only new, it's all improved. Cooling system. Look at the size of the massive hand welded aluminum radiators. Look at this thing. Polished also. Just beautiful pieces. This thing's a work of art. So that combined with the Wiseco forged piston and the 514 big bore and the long rod makes it one hell of a machine. If there's one thing I would add to this bike, and there's several companies that add this, and you can get it done for you can buy one done for $500, or send your head out to either probably Adam Millar. Adam Millar's Millar Race Engineering is building a race motor for us right now. Ken O'Connor could do it. AJ Wagner, and there's some guys over in the UK that do it. A decompression head, because with the 514cc big bore, I'm not going to kid you, man. This thing's got a lot of compression, over 200 psi, and it's a lot of motor to turn over. And the factory kickers on these on the 86s are a little smaller than the 87s and 88s.
You need a boot to kick it.
You got, guys, straight up, don't even try to start this with your sneakers, okay? That would be a bad idea. Definitely want to have a boot on it, and you got to get it to TDC, and it's a 514. So the one thing I would add that he didn't put on this thing is a decompression head, and it's not a big deal. You can send this head out and get it done for a couple $100, or buy one that's already done for under 500. There's only, what, 7 bolts holding the head on. It's just this piece right here. They put a decompression lever right here, so it makes it easy to start as a 125. I think those should come stock on the bikes when they were new. It's only about a $20 part. It's very easy to do. I don't know why they didn't, but I would highly recommend a decompression head on this monster. So, especially for an old guy like me who's 55, the young bucks don't seem to give a shit, but my bones are brittle, and when it kicks back, it hurts. So, definitely a serious high compression big bore motor that won the shootout. What else can I say? I mean, this is not seat of the pants or dyno results. This is actual back-to-back with other 500s from the same era, same generation motor, and this is the best of the best. So if you want the best of the best, buy this bike. If you want to build one yourself, well, prepare on 3 to 5 months of round-the-clock obsession, over 100 hours of labor, and sometimes parts get misplaced in shipping. Right now with the COVID stuff, we're having problems with shipping. This one's done. I've always said it's easier to buy one done than it is to build it yourself. Look at the chrome on the forks. Isn't that beautiful? Just beautifully preserved, professionally rebuilt, and then taken to the next level by us here at the museum. Just a kick-ass bike. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit subscribe, because if you don't, you're going to miss the 93 YZ250, the 89 KX, the 90 KX, the 86 250, and then the Air Hammer, the 84 500. 85% of our viewers are not subscribed. Just hit the little button, subscribe button. It's easy. Doesn't cost anything to do it, and you'll stay up to date with us, and it'll help our channel grow. Thanks for watching. You want the best? Buy this bike. Kaplan America approved. Good luck bidding on it. God bless America.